Kill the boy and let the man be born.
We evolve beyond the person we were a minute before.
Every boy wants to be strong, to be able to handle anything life throws at him.
Little by little, we advance a bit further with each turn. That's how a drill works.
But we can be held back by fear, doubt, anxiety, and we can start to lose ourselves.
What are you saying? I can't do this.
Every man was once a boy, someone who relied on others, needed support, praise, and love. But there is a moment when every boy must choose if they will stay that way forever or become a man that leads.
If you're gonna dig to the heavens. No matter what's in my way, I won't stop. Once I've dug through, it means that I've won. Just who the hell do you think I am? I'm Simone. I'm not my bro. I'm me!
Life is unfair. Cruel things will happen to you, and you will doubt if you have the strength to move forward. But the only thing that matters when choosing to be a man is how committed are you to becoming the strongest version of yourself. The version of you that chooses to move forward even when you're scared. The one that others turn to in a crisis. The one that still carries hope even in the darkest situations. Every boy has this potential inside of him to become someone truly great and surpass everything that's holding him back. But this takes sacrifice, dedication, and faith. But if you're able to endure the pain and create a path forward for others, you'll become someone deserving of being called the man.
And that's Tengen Toppa! That's Gurren Laggan! My drill is the drill that creates the heavens!
But what makes someone a boy? It's more than just about age. It's a mentality. It's a mentality where you're looking for others to come and save you, where you're trying to avoid responsibilities and you run towards comfort instead. We all have done this before in the past, especially as young boys, but the problem is when we continue to grow physically, but mentally we stay in the same place that we were as kids. But the real question is, how do we break free from these boyish mentalities so that we can grow into becoming a man? Think about what your reaction is when difficult situations show up in your life. Do you accept responsibility, or do you find excuses for why other people should handle it, or why you're not the right person, or why it's okay for you to just avoid this problem for now? We all have these situations in our lives that we don't want to face, whether it's family troubles, money issues, relationships, or just life in general. There can be so many small problems that drag us down in life that it's natural for us to look for a way to escape. Whether it's getting distracted with doom scrolling, overeating, looking at porn, and looking for ways to numb the pain that we feel every day. Because the truth is, a lot of the life circumstances that you are dealing with aren't your fault. You didn't choose to be put in stressful situations. You didn't choose to have unlucky things happen to you. But it is your responsibility to figure out how you want to move forward with these problems right now. And that is the difference between a boy and a man. Someone who runs away from responsibility is what defines a boy, and someone who accepts the responsibility even if it's not their fault. That's what makes someone a man. And this is what Simone had to learn the hard way. Before Simone became the man, he was a weak and scared boy. He looked to his big bro to solve every problem and fight every battle for him. He constantly wanted the comfort of his underground life over fighting on the surface, even though he knew a life underground meant he would eventually die from an earthquake. But even still, Simone was growing. Side by side and fighting with his big bro every day made him stronger. With his big bro always there to support him, Simone felt like they could do anything together. But when he loses his big bro, he doesn't know how to move forward. He starts to rot away. He isolates himself and doesn't know how to live without his big bro there to guide him. Even though Simone had conquered his fear and had fought so many battles, this moment brought him back to being a boy. He kept wishing his big bro was there to save him, to lead him. But without him, Simone had to learn how to grow by himself.
Just who the hell do you think I am? I'm Simone. I'm not my bro. I'm me! Simone the Digger!
Hey, yo, chill!
Simone was not a boy because of his age, but because of how he acted. Being a boy is looking to others to solve your problems for you, avoiding responsibility, and running away instead of facing what's in front of you. When we're kids, we don't have any power or strength of our own. That's why we rely on others to help us until we can become independent. But the difference is that Simone had power. He had Laggan, and he was the reason why they were able to escape from the underground in the first place and start fighting. But when others needed him, he folded to the pressure, convinced that he was useless and unreliable. No matter what anybody said or tried to do to help him, only he could make the choice to grow up. When his team gets captured and are facing death, everyone starts to panic, not knowing what to do or how to escape. But it's Simone who finds a way to break out and recapture their base. He stopped looking around for someone else to save him, solve his problems for him, and he started asking himself, what can he do for others in these stressful moments? When he's able to face all the enemies in front of him, even though he's afraid, that's what makes him a man long before he is even old enough to be considered one. But even after this moment, where Simone felt like he finally grew up, was able to stop doubting himself and finally started believing in himself, he still has to come face to face with situations that make him question if he's making the right choices over and over again. Hopeless circumstances are constantly testing how strong his faith and strength is as a man. How he reacts in these moments of fear, anxiety, and internal crisis is what defines him as a boy or a man. Will he choose to run away or accept responsibility? The strength of Simone's character comes from these very moments where most people would fold from the pressure, lose faith in themselves, and give up. It's in these moments that Simone represents the indomitable human spirit to push forward and have hope no matter how dark the situation is. Simone accepted everything life threw at him and still supported everyone he could, and that's the sign of a real man. Now you're probably thinking, this sounds cool, but Simone is just an anime character. How does this help me in my life? You might not have to be fighting against the whole universe, but the internal struggle that Simone goes through from being this weak boy, looking at Kamina to save him all the time, to becoming a man that leads, that is a struggle that every man faces in his life in one way or the other. What this looks like in your life is, how do you choose to show up for your family when all you want to do is run away from whatever argument, situation, or stressful crisis you are dealing with? What do you choose to do when all you want to do is run away to the comfort of your phone, to a drink, to a smoke, when there is a problem right in front of you that needs your attention? How you choose to deal with these everyday stressful situations is just as meaningful as how Simone dealt with saving the world. There are things that you need to put your attention towards, but how you approach these situations entirely depends on if you are willing to let go of comfort, of the desire to look for others to save you, to deal with the problems for you, and be the man that is able to handle these responsibilities even when he's afraid. There are so many problems in life that it makes it easy for us to want to look at other people as the problem, or at situations that aren't our fault to begin with as something that we don't have to deal with. But when you look at Simone and you look at his evolution as this boy who constantly wants to run away from fights to becoming a man that is literally saving galaxies, you see the human spirit that needs to accept responsibility in order for it to grow. That's what it means to be a man, to accept more responsibility, not because someone is telling you to, not because you even want to, but because you need to. This is what Simone had to do. He picked up responsibilities every single day, from leading Team Gurren to saving other people to protecting children and helping them grow. He took on responsibilities every single day until he became the man. His goal was never to become the man. His goal was just to become his best self. And through this process of figuring out who he was, who he wants to protect, what he stands for, what his values are, he was able to call himself a man because he was able to stand proud. Are you able to say that about your life right now? Are you able to say that you're accepting as much responsibilities as you possibly can? That you're not letting excuses and the desire for comfort control you? Because the truth is that we all have weaknesses and ways of thinking that keep us trapped as a boy. Whether it's blaming others, whether it's wanting to run away from responsibility, there are things that keep us weak. And becoming the man of our lives is being able to take our weaknesses and turn them into strengths. That's what Simone was able to do. He was so insecure about himself and his identity, but that ended up being his strength. He was able to accept who he was and all of his weaknesses, and he turned them into strengths when he stopped running away and he accepted the life that he had and who he was. You have insecurities that are holding you back, not because there's something deeply flawed or wrong about you, but because you are unwilling to look in the mirror and accept yourself for who you really are. Growth as a man can only come after acceptance. Acceptance of responsibilities, acceptance of our life circumstances, and most importantly, acceptance of who you are. The strongest men aren't those that are this hyper masculine, stoic, and unemotional piece of stone, but the strongest men are those that have been broken by life but still choose to move forward and help as many people as they possibly can. This is what Simone represents, and this is what we need to learn from him. He represents the will to keep fighting even when everything feels hopeless, and we've all been in that place in our lives where we don't know if we can take a step forward. But even still, if we're able to move forward even just a little bit, we're choosing to be strong. Becoming the man of your life isn't just one action or one moment. You don't just kill the boy inside of you once either. Life isn't that clean. You will have to go through doubts, insecurities, anxieties, and fears over and over again in your life. And every time you face the crossroad between choosing comfort or the other choice, which is to move forward, even when you're scared, when you're able to choose the right path, that's what defines you as a man, over and over again. This is what Simone had to deal with every single time he came across a difficult choice, and this is what you will have to face in your life. The truth is that life will throw things at you that you're not sure if you can handle. You'll be made responsible for things that you wish you didn't have to deal with. But in these moments of crisis, in these moments of uncertainty, if we're able to stand tall, support those around us, and figure out a way of moving forward instead of chasing comfort and going back to the boy that we were, that's what makes us men. Simone chose responsibility every time he faced this choice. He chose to fight even when he was scared. That's what made him a man, and that's what made him a leader. We need more men like this. We need you.